across the fence, have you ever wondered what it takes to grow one of those giant pumpkins you see at the fair? We'll provide some answers to that question now. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson, and joining me is Steve Miner from South Hero. Steve is a member of the Vermont Giant Pumpkin Growers Association. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me a little bit about the Giant Pumpkin Growers Association.
Well, the Giant Pumpkin Growers have been around for about 12 years. They started in 2002, and we have about 70 members, and the members not only grow giant pumpkins, but they also grow giant tomatoes, giant squash, and giant watermelons.
So can anybody join?
Anybody can join, Judy. The membership fee is only $15 a year, and one of the perks, one of the benefits of becoming a member is you get a huge packet of seeds in February of all kinds of different giant vegetables.
Mm-hmm. And so you can decide which you want to grow or not.
You can decide out of that packet what you're going to be growing.
Okay, well, we're going to have some contact information at the end of the show, so if you're interested, you can get your pencil and paper ready. But now, we're going to get Steve's expert advice on how to grow a giant pumpkin, thanks to contributing editor Lynn Jarvis, who visited Steve's garden several times this summer.
Thank you, Judy. In this small garden just off Route 2 here in Grand Isle County, we're going to observe a miracle with a little help from Mother Nature and the horticultural skills of Steve Miner. It's good to see you, Steve.
Welcome, Lynn.
Steve, for many years, has been growing giant pumpkins that you might have seen at the fair in Essex Junction. If things go as planned, this small seed will produce a pumpkin that can weigh as much as 2,000 pounds.
Well, Lynn, one of the most frequently asked questions that I get at the Champlain Valley Fair about how to grow giant pumpkins is what to do with the seeds to make sure that they're going to germinate. And here we have a seed from one of my giant pumpkins that I displayed at the fair a few years ago, and it hasn't been filed yet. And the reason for the filing is so that the water can get into the seed and be absorbed more readily so that the seed coat will split and the pumpkin can actually grow faster. So after filing a seed like this down, it's put into a plastic bag inside of a damp paper towel, and it's kept on top of a heating mat that's attached to a thermostat so that the temperature remains constant. After a few days, you'll be able to see these seeds have actually germinated. This one germinated about 3 days ago, and this one germinated just a couple of days ago. So I'm just going to take these 4-inch pots, fill them with potting soil, and then I'm going to be putting one of these sprouted pumpkin seeds in here. And I make sure that the potting soil is damp but not wet enough so that I can squeeze it and get any moisture out of it. Let me get my tongue depressor so that I can make a little slot in the soil. We're going to take this one and very gently put it in here so that the root goes down about 3 inches, and cover up the seed with just a few inches of soil. And then this is going to be taken inside and put on a heating mat until it pops out like these two.
About how long?
This is going to take 3 or 4 days, Lynn, and hopefully these will look as good as those that are just starting to break out of the soil. It's another beautiful day in South Hero, and all 4 of my seeds are doing well. I know you're probably all waiting for me to tell the secrets of growing giant pumpkins, and I just happen to have 2 of the secrets right here. One of the secrets is this beneficial fungus called mycorrhiza. It's a beneficial fungus which attaches itself to the roots of plants and enables the plants to take up more nutrients and water. The second very important secret is kelp meal. Kelp meal is a veritable soup of nutrients, enzymes, and amino acids. And without these 2, giant pumpkin growers couldn't grow the 2,000-pound pumpkins that they are now able to.
Well, Steve, this is an exciting day for me because we're actually going to plant the pumpkins, and I have one that's going to be the prize winner, I know.
I certainly hope so, Lynn. So I'll take care of your prize winner until the next time.
Steve, it's been about 3 weeks since we've been here, and this plant has really taken off, and it does rain here in South Carolina.
It certainly does.
So tell us about what's happened here.
Okay, basically nothing happened for about 2 weeks, and then last week the plant started growing and sprouting leaves, and it laid down, and now it's growing at a rate of about 6 inches a day. It's been about a week since we last visited these pumpkins, and I've been kept really busy burying the vines and adding fertilizer. They're growing about a foot a day, and one of the reasons for burying the vines is to help increase root growth by adding the fertilizer underneath each leaf node. And the other thing is we get some really strong winds out here in South Hero, and these vines are really fragile, and if I don't do that, they might twist right off the main vine here. Unfortunately, we have to pinch off all the baby pumpkins on the side vines. That's so all the energy will go into making a big pumpkin on the main vine, and that'll be happening in probably about a week or so.
Hard to believe, but the fair is about 40 days away. I don't see many pumpkins yet, but what's going to happen today?
This female flower just opened up this morning, Len, and I'm going to be using a male flower to pollinate it. First of all, I have to strip the petals off so that I can get easy access to the male part of the flower.
Okay.
And then I'm going to be rubbing the pollen all around the interior of the female flower. And in 3 to 5 days, Lynn, this pollinated pumpkin is going to look like this pumpkin.
Wow!
I keep this fabric on it to prevent the skin from getting hard, because it's going to grow so fast that the skin will actually split if the sunlight hits it too much. It's July 19th. It's been about a week since we've been in the pumpkin patch, and the pumpkins and the plants have grown tremendously since then. The plants have used up just about all of their space, and here's the pumpkin that we pollinated last week. It's now 8 days old, and here's something to show how large it is, something to give you an idea in comparison.
Steve, I'm amazed at how much this has grown since we were here last time. Now, how do you account for this?
Well, then I had a soil test done this spring, and all I did was to add what the soil test recommended in terms of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, magnesium, and some others.
Steve, since you were last here, this pumpkin, I would say, has more than doubled in size. It's a beautiful orange color coming along, and we don't have to get down on our knees to look at it anymore. Now, how much would you estimate this might weigh?
Well, Ed, giant pumpkin growers have devised a system whereby we take measurements to determine the approximate weight of the pumpkin. Let me show you. We take the circumference around the pumpkin, and we do an end-to-end measurement, and we do a side-to-side measurement, and that gives us the approximate weight when we add them all up. And according to this, we've got 173 pounds.
173, yay! It's August 21st and time for the pumpkin to go to the fair. Steve has hired Ron Bushway of Grand Isle to help him load the precious cargo. One false move can mean disaster. Mission accomplished. We're just outside Expo North and the pumpkins are about to be weighed. I understand there are 6 or 7 entries and it looks like Steve has a lot of competition. Let's see what happens.
It's not moving, is it?
Steve, we're going to get your photo with it. Perfect. 1,000, 67.5.
Very good.
Congratulations.
With the judging completed, Steve's pumpkin came in 5th at almost 400 pounds. Good job, Steve. And now back to you, Judy, in the studio.
Well, thanks so much, Lynn. And we all know the first place winner, Kevin Companion. He's been doing this a long time.
That's for sure.
All right. Well, as we saw and heard, your pumpkin came in 5th place. That's a little bit different from you. This is kind of a smallish pumpkin for you. What do you attribute that to?
Part of that was due to the fact that I got a late start because of knee surgery in January, and I just couldn't do what I normally do in terms of getting my pumpkins out toward the end of April or the beginning of May.
Well, it's a tremendous amount of work, as we saw on that videotape. I mean, my goodness, you must spend hours and hours and hours with your plants.
That is true. A lot of times growers spend more time outdoors than they do indoors. It's actually a second job.
And I was amazed too at how quickly they grow.
Oh, they can put on as much as 30 to 40 pounds a day when you're growing the really big pumpkins.
Let's take a look now at some of your other winners. I know we have some pictures here from years past of some of your big pumpkins.
Oh, that's my 581-pound pumpkin. That's the first large pumpkin that I ever took to a weigh-off. It came in 16th place, but I was just so happy to have it there being weighed officially.
Excellent. Let's take a look at the other one.
Oh, this
Wow.
is my crowning achievement so far. It's the largest pumpkin that I've ever grown. It weighed 912 pounds and had a beautiful shape, beautiful color. And I just have to say again that I was really so happy to grow this pumpkin.
Okay, we got another picture too.
Oh, that's my pumpkin from last year. It got the Howard Dill Award for the prettiest pumpkin. As you can see, it does look very pretty. The award isn't given out to just anybody. I was very honored. And if anybody wants seeds from this pumpkin, I have plenty of them at home.
Now tell me a bit, why are they different colors?
A lot of that has to do with genetics. I was just looking at somebody's pumpkin on Facebook this morning, and it was white, and both of the parents were brilliant orange. So there's really no telling what you're going to be getting from a seed.
You know, we talked a lot about in the video, a lot about the nutrients that are in the soil, but what about water? Because doesn't it take a tremendous amount of water?
Oh, yes, Judy. A lot of times people use from 80 to 100 gallons of water a day when it's dry. Pumpkins are about 90% water. And if you don't give them the water and then you do give them water, they can split on you.
Oh, no kidding. So you have to keep a constant.
Right. They're sort of like tomatoes in that respect.
Mm-hmm. And so if people want to know more about growing pumpkins, giant pumpkins, what advice would you give them?
The best advice that I would give to someone is to have a soil test done this fall. And after the results of the soil test come in, definitely get in touch with the Vermont growers. Because we'd be more than glad to help you do what you have to do to grow a giant pumpkin next year and maybe even win some money in a competition.
You mentioned the soil. That's hugely important because the pumpkins will use up all those nutrients.
That often happens after people grow world record pumpkins. The next year they don't do very well at all because the pumpkins take up so many nutrients and they disrupt the soil biology so much that really you don't stand a chance of growing another world record the year after you grew a world record.
And you spend a lot of time at the giant pumpkin display at the fair. What kind of questions do people ask you?
Some of the most frequent questions I get are, how do you grow these pumpkins so big? Do you use milk to grow the pumpkins? Another one is, are those pumpkins on steroids? And finally, where can I get some seeds to grow a pumpkin that large?
Well, excellent. Steve, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. The Champlain Valley Fair still has a few more days to go, so you can stop by the giant pumpkin display in the Expo North and say hello to Steve. And for more information on the Vermont Giant Pumpkin Growers Association and how to grow prize-winning pumpkins, visit the website on your screen. It's vermontgiants.tripod.com, and you can also call Steve at 802-372-4031. Well, that's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.